Alright, so I'll be speaking on operational excellence. Right? Now, before I even jump into that, whatever you are desiring, understand that it is the highest form of your exposure. That's what you are desiring. Have you thought about it? Why can I not think of a private jet? Is it not there? It's available, but it's not yet tangible enough in your reality. It doesn't make sense to you that you should own one. Or, come on, what business line are you in? So, invariably, your desire is directly proportional to the exposure you have. Yes. So, this is one beautiful secret I found out about wealthy guys. They don't just bother about living cash. No, that's the smallest of the conversation. What are they doing? A lot of them take their children to certain kinds of school. They take their children to certain kinds of places. They themselves understand that I can desire so much if I am exposed so much. Okay, look at it. They would go for different brands opening. For instance, Louis Vuitton is doing a kind of jewelry opening, or this is doing that, and they will be there. Have you ever thought about it? Is it that they don't have what to do? No. They understand that desire is a function of how much I have exposed myself. Now, let me now look at that scriptural reference. I talked about Solomon, because Solomon is one person we know from scripture. Again, this is not just a Christian community content, so it's applicable everywhere. Right? Solomon is one person that expressed operational excellence in the Bible. If you are a Christian person, you know that the Bible said Solomon walked in the statutes of his father, meaning one thing. Everywhere his father was going, a lot of those places Solomon was there. Every time his father was walking or talking, a lot of those times Solomon was there. Solomon drew a lot of everything he is. In fact, the Bible told us that he replicated his father when it comes to the excellence, right? So this and this and this of Solomon was from somebody, his father. Exposure. This guy became this good as a result of, he became very clear about what he wanted. His desire bandwidth expanded so much because he had a father. Going slowly now. Now look at the life of people like Warren Buffett. Look at the lives of some of these our acclaimed successful guys, right? Which I'm not saying they are not. They are successful, right? But there's something about them. These guys have one or two big people in their picture. So what does that do for you? It's that principle of I can desire so much if I am exposed so much. So you are not looking for, or you are not desiring to have rare collections of certain wine bottles of certain companies like NSC. It's not because it's wrong. It's because you have not been exposed to an environment where they do such wine tastings. Do you understand? So there's a direct link to check everything you are desiring. Everything you are desiring is directly proportional to the much your mind and exposure you have got to. And mind you, exposure is not fantasy. Exposure is those things you can relate with. So you're not thinking private jets, not because private jet is wrong. No. You've not been exposed enough to an environment where private jet is just a normal accessory. It's not even a luxury item. Do you understand that? Now look at Solomon. So 4 things is synonymous with how Solomon walked. And that is very, very key to how everybody is even operating. Everybody you see successful today is operating on these 4 things. Number 1, clarity. Right? So Solomon had a vision that is clear. So if you cannot clearly state where you are going, you actually, how will I put this now? It's a lost game already from the beginning. So Solomon had a clear vision of what he wanted. Right? Scripture told us that, hey, Solomon wanted to build a house for the Lord, and he also wanted to build his own house. The same Bible also told us that David, his father, also loved the Lord. In a part of the Bible said, Solomon's father, now who is David, because he could not build the house, he said, let me give you the materials to build it. Something happened in that scripture, which is why I want us to have this conversation, right? So the first thing about clarity is that you are clear about the requirements for that position. Yes. So if you cannot say completely what you know about what that position entails, you are not ready. So how did Solomon approach that? Solomon was clear that this particular thing I want, my father also wanted this thing, but he could not get it. Why? Because he had wars. There was so much battle around him. Right? There was so much. How can I now get the same thing? I must go and understand my opposition, which is battle, and walk around it. And how did he walk around it? 1 Kings chapter 3. Again, this is not supposed to just be a Christian community content. It's philosophy, it's psychology, it's just trying to expose your mind to a kind of idea, right? So, in that particular scripture, 1 Kings chapter 3, this is what happened. He made an alliance with one of the strongest kings that would pose an opposition to him. And that was Pharaoh. So the question is, if you are making a plan, have you ever considered, if you have a vision, have you ever considered, do I have other people that also want this position? What does that position entail? If you cannot put the opposition in view, you are joking. And mind you, the opposition is there not to pose as a threat to you, but to pose as a leverage. Now, this is one thing I noticed about power players. They don't destroy their enemies. They create alliance. You don't look at countries like the United States, for instance. It's very difficult for you to think of blowing up that place, even if we have news of certain. But why will it not be a normal idea for you? Every country has almost all of their representatives in that state. You have the Nigerian American community, you have the Asian American community, you have the Japanese American, name it. In fact, even to Nigeria, they have the Urobo community. Right? So if you are thinking in that light, a particular brand, LVMH, Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, a brand owns 75 other brands. Perception thinking now. You might not want Dior, Christian Dior, but you might be a fan of Fendi. You might also be not very moved by Fendi, but you might like Louis Vuitton. The idea is that instead of having these people as my rival, why not form an alliance? So you are choosing Christian Dior over Fendi, but unknowingly to you, you are paying one person. Right? So the first thing on Solomon's playbook is clarity. He understood the assignment, he understood the opposition. Number 2 is that this guy made powerful partnerships and relationships. So if you look at Solomon's life, you will see from scripture that this guy, all the prominent kings, he had one of their daughters as a wife. So that goes to tell you that you don't jump into relationships because you are emotional. No. Emotion is the weakest form of intelligence. You are not operating from emotion, you are operating from knowledge, from intellect, from logic. You are doing your findings. Is this thing enough for the journey? Is this thing necessary for the journey? So if this person or this relationship or this product or this service is not necessary for the vision, there is no need getting it. There is no emotional buying. That is one thing I've noticed about the body. They don't buy things off emotion. They are not price sensitive, but they are convenience obsessed. So they are getting it because they actually need it. It's going to solve a lot of stress for them. Come on, let's get it. Right? So it's a mentality. Number 1 again, clarity on the mission, the requirements, and the opposition. Number 2, powerful partnerships and relationships. Yes. Number 3, guess what it is? Mentorship. Now, this is what he said. Scripture, like again I said, is not meant to be just a Christian community consumption. It's for everybody. Now, well, we're taking this from scripture, right? We're just using that playbook. Number 3, mentorship. The Bible will say that Solomon walked in the statutes of his father. Now, a particular Nigerian billionaire died, Herbert, right? And this guy, something happened when he died, this man. We noticed that when he died with his first son. That is supposed to be a level of exposure of how the wealthy move to a lot of the regular people, right? So these guys are always moving with their kids, exposing them to the playbook. You are going to be angry that they are successively passing down the wealth amongst themselves. No, they understand that cash is not the wealth. The knowledge, the formula, the playbook is actually how this thing. Come, let me show you how to close a deal. Come, let me show you how to dress for an event. Come, let me tell you how to talk to an audience. So they give these guys, they give their kids the actual playbook, right? So he had mentorship, and mentorship he had was his father. And like I used to say, if your parents are not your mentors, it's going to be a struggle. The struggle is going to be more when you are going outside to outsource your mentors, right? Yeah, so that's that. Mentorship. And then the last one, community. You know, a popular saying will say, you build wealth with community. You don't build wealth in relationships, you build wealth in community. And what differentiates community from relationship? Language. In relationships, in partnerships, you really are not speaking the same language, but you have a similar interest, right? But when you build a community is now people that say what you would have said if you were there. Yes. A community that moves with one agenda, and it's transcending beyond relationships. So Solomon's 4 key in his playbook was: number 1, clarity on requirements, on vision, and on opposition. Number 2, partnership, powerful partnership and relationships. Number 3, mentorship. Yes. And number 4, Solomon built a community of people that had one language. Yes. So that was Solomon's playbook. And if you notice in scripture, you will see that this guy was operating at a level where the world was revolving around some of the sound ideas he was giving out. In fact, he was gaining traction and attention based off how he was communicating certain ideas, right? So this guy had a level of study. Yes, a level of exposure, a level of study. His desires widened. And like I said, you cannot desire more than your exposure. So what we use for playbook? Operational excellence it's possible. It's possible. Once you understand the playbook, you can get it.